Trek Geeks Podcast Network and the Divine Treasury are proud to have FanSets as its presenting sponsor. Stay tuned for a special discount code worth 10% off your order at fansets.com. FanSets, our pins have character.
This episode is also sponsored by Science Division, the makers of the world's first interactive Tribble. Stay tuned for a discount code to bring a Tribble into your home today. Science Division. Trouble's never been this fun.
The divine treasury is made of pure latinum.
From Science Station 2 in the rear section of Podfleet Command, this is the Divine Treasury Podcast. My name is Mike, and as always, I am joined by my co-host, who is frantically searching eBay as we speak to continue to fill his Star Trek Picard set. Say hello to Jamie Rogers. Jamie, how's it going?
Good. I got 21 minutes till my next bid. So
awesome.
Let's get going. Chop, chop.
Yeah. So mentioned Science Station 2 is where we're located today, and that is due to our guest, who is the host of Science Station 2 on the network, Hayley Stoddart. But before we get into her conversation with us, as always, we go through any of the new merchandise that's coming to the market. And if anybody out there has liked, as a kid, to play with the Green Army Men, as they were depicted in Toy Story so well, Nanoforce is bringing sets of those to the Star Trek universe, except they will not be Green Army Men like we would be used to. Nope. They will be blue, red, and yellow gold, whatever you want to call it. But they will be putting out sets of both the original series and the next generation. So original series is going to feature Kirk, Spock, McCoy, Scotty, Sulu, Uhura, and Chekhov gets the shaft once again. It will also feature as enemies to the Army Men a Gorn, a Telosian, an Andorian, a Salt Vampire, a Romulan, and a Klingon. If you buy it as a set, it will also include a 4-inch Enterprise to go with it. So this set is going to go for an unprecedented, very low price of $24.95. That seems to be a pretty good deal for what you get. It's 12 2-inch figures and the 4-inch Enterprise. So that's pretty cool. TNG version will feature Captain Picard, Data, Dr. Crusher, Geordi LaForge, Will Riker, Worf, and Troy. It will also feature a Romulan, a Borg, a Klingon, a Cardassian, and Q. And it as well will feature a 4-inch model of the Enterprise, and it also is going for $24.95. So will the next gen set appear in the Jamie Rogers Man Cave?
It's a very good possibility. I think the colors are really nice with that set and really vibrant. So we'll see. I'm going to say no for right now, but it could always change, especially with some of the items we got coming out, some of the other items that we're going to be talking about. So that brings me to my section here, the Super 7 Star Trek TNG 3.75 inch reaction figure line. So really, these kind of remind me, Mike, I don't know if they remind you as well, but the Galoob TNG figures that we saw, back in the late 80s when the series first came out. And Wesley obviously got kind of shafted in that in that set because they really only made a prototype and then kind of stopped the line. But that's not the case with these Super 7 figures. They're going to be retailing around $18. But and they're also promising to have more than just these first 6 figurines. This is supposed to be just wave 1, and then there's going to be more to come. But in this initial line, this initial release, it's going to be Captain Picard, Data, Lieutenant Worf, Wesley Crusher in his, looks like season 1 sweater there, and then Guinan, and then looks like a Borg drone. So really excited about this collection. Like I said, it kind of brings me back. I still don't have the Galoob figurines yet, but I will get them eventually. And like I said, I think I probably will get this set as eventually as well. So
yeah, I have to find my Worf. It's floating somewhere in Emily's room. But I have the complete set of the Starfleet crew from the Galoob set. Yeah, and the Wesley Crusher version is wearing his unofficial acting ensign's uniform. And you probably have heard this somewhere before, that that sweater had the 3 division colors on it, so that because he was in the process of deciding what he was going to do, and so that's why they put the 3 colors on it.
Oh, that is interesting. I actually did not know that.
Oh, there's your TNG schooling for the day.
Wow.
So going back to the well of figures, these figures are significantly more than the Super 7 figures are. We're talking about X06. So previously we talked about the Data figure that they're putting together from First Contact, and having the separate face with the human grafted skin onto the android face. Well, X06 is announcing many different things additionally that are coming out. So it won't just be the First Contact Data, but there's also going to be a First Contact Picard, which was teased in a Twitter post today, in the First Contact Enterprise E era chair, which is right up my alley with my Captain's Chairs collection. So I may have to look into putting in a pre-order on that. So pre-orders are going to start in May of this year, so next month. And it's looking like it's going to be a late 2021 release on that. Probably just in time for the holidays. I'm sure these people have all of this planned out so that they can make the most of that holiday rush to the stores and internet to buy things. But they also announced that for the third quarter of 2021, they're going to begin a Decorated Captains series. And the picture features Kirk's wraparound tunic, the olive green color, Picard's Darmok duty jacket, Janeway in her standard duty uniform with, it looks like, a Voyager era phaser rifle, Cisco with a phaser rifle, and the movie era DS9 era uniform with the gray shouldering, and of course the Captain Jonathan Archer Enterprise jumpsuit. So the Data figure, the pre-order number on that was $189. These figures are a 1/6 replica, so it's not a small figure like the Galoobs or like the Playmates. I think 1/6 is even bigger than the Art Asylum Diamond Select figures were. So you're getting a lot of detail for the money that you spend, and they do look like they're going to be some exquisite pieces.
Nice. So going now back over to the Eagle Moss side. We know we've been talking a lot about Romulan ships of late. So one of the new releases that's coming out in July is going to be the Angular Romulan vessel. Now, we had talked about the Romulan vessel in previous episodes from Stardust City Rag, but this is pretty much the predominant Romulan vessel that's used throughout the Picard series, mostly highlighted in the episode Remembrance. Those were the ships that were circling around the Borg cube. So that's going to be one of the ship releases coming out in July. So looking forward to that one. And also one that I kind of particularly like, because everybody knows I'm a big fan of, besides TNG, but also a big fan of the movies, is the Regular One station model from Star Trek II. And obviously, if you really want to get crazy, it's technically the space station model from the motion picture, just flipped upside down. But that's actually a really nice model. It measures about 7 inches in height. It's one of the few space station type models that Eagle Moss has. But that's a sharp looking one. And like I said, look forward to the angular Romulan ship that's coming out in July as well.
All right. And the last thing to talk about here is Discovery Season 3 is beaming into DVD and Blu-ray coming July 20th of this year. So you can actually, if you go online, you can pre-order this on Amazon right now. So Amazon only has the link right now to pre-order the DVD set and the Blu-ray set. I'm holding out for the Steelbook edition. That is not available out there yet for pre-order, but the Blu-ray and the DVD are available for pre-order. And again, that will be released July 20th.
So now it's time for us to talk about some of the new items that we have in our collection. And I'm going to start off today. The first item that I'd like to talk about is something really cool that I saw on Twitter. And I know I kind of talked to you a little bit about it, Mike. It was a John Delancey autographed photo from his directly from his website. So we're actually going to post these obviously on our Twitter accounts once we get them all framed and matted up, which I know you've done a nice job with that, Mike. But johndelancey.com, what he's been doing is he's got some really nice artist renderings of some different photos and things of the Q character. So I actually got one from the courtroom scene from Encounter at Farpoint. Well, it's actually kind of an artist rendition of an actual courtroom scene. And it was pretty cool because you were able to have John Delancey actually personalize it digitally in the autograph. So my photo actually says all good things must come to an end. And he autographed it to me. So that's one piece that I got that was really cool. The other thing that I got, obviously everybody knows I'm doing the Star Trek Enterprise D build. And so I did get kits 3 through 6. Kit number 3 was actually the Deflector Dish. And what's cool is you can actually test it out. They actually gave me a battery pack and the actual circuit board so that you could actually test some of the lights on it. So the Deflector Dish was kit number 3. Kit number 4 was actually deck panels A, B, and C. Kind of like the front of the saucer section kind of near 10 forward, but kind of a little off to the side there. And once again, you could, plug these in. I will say with these deck panels, this one was kind of a pain in the butt because literally all the little windows and of course me being as OCD as I am, trying to make sure that I got the exact scheme of the actual Enterprise D model was a little bit of a pain, but it was kind of cool where you had the different windows, the different escape pods. And once again, this actually lights up as well. So you were able to test that out as well. So that was kit number 4. Kit number 5 actually connects with kit number 1. So it was actually the deck base sections that fit around decks 1 and 2. And another cool piece of this is the actual shuttle bay doors in the back. So that was kind of a cool thing about kit number 5. And then my kit number 6 was actually the beginning of the skeletal supports. And I will say it, nice weight, nice feel to the skeletal support. So I was actually very, very impressed with that. So it's really starting to come together, obviously, now that I'm 6 issues in. So excited to see what issues 7 through 10 have for us. A couple other things. I did get my last 2 Funkos from the original Star Trek series line. I got my original series Kirk, which was one of the more rarer ones, and also the Orion Slave Girl. So now I am complete as far as Funkos go, as far as in the Star Trek genre. Obviously, I don't have the Big Bang Theory ones, so I know you were going to bring that up, Mike, but I don't have those. So
not even in my thought process.
Don't even tempt me. Don't even tempt me. But I have all the Star Trek Funkos. The collection is now complete now, up until the new releases, obviously.
Is that all? Oh my goodness!
I mean, the
yes,
big, the elephant in the
yep.
No, I was gonna say the elephant in the room is the Picard cases, but I'm not going to talk about those yet.
Yep. All right. So yeah, I picked up a few things, of course, because I can't have an offer. So I had placed an order not too long ago for a few of the Eagle Moss ships that I didn't have. Like I said before, I collect the hero ships, if you will, the main ships that appear in the series, or like in Deep Space Nine's case, the station as well. So I did finish off all of those. I picked up the original series 1701 model. I had the original 1701, but it was the Cage era, which there are some slight differences on it. So I picked up the original regular series model as well. I got Voyager because I did not have Voyager. I don't know how I missed out on that, but I didn't have Voyager, so I picked up the Voyager. I picked up the Discovery, which is a very nice piece. And because Emily loves Voyager and she loves the Borg, I picked her up the assimilated Voyager. And she's proudly displaying that on her shelf in her bedroom. As far as cards went, there were a few things that I picked up here and there just to continue to add to my Discovery Season 1 and Season 2 put together. So there's 2 subsets that I picked up for Season 1. The opening sequence artwork, I picked that up, as well as there's a characters insert set from Season 1. It was an 11 card set, I believe. So I picked that up. Picked up a few of the relic cards to continue to add to that as well. Finished off the promo cards for Season 1 and Season 2. So I have all of the promo cards that came from those 2 sets. Now, some of the big things that I got to go along with all of this fun stuff. So I was able to pick up one of the archive box exclusive autographs from Season 2 Discovery. It was Hannah Cheeseman as Commander Arium. And this is actually a very cool card. It's one of the bordered ones, but the picture is of Arium with the head tilt and the red eyes because she's been activated by what in the world was that? Section 31 thing.
Control,
thank you. She was activated by Control with the red eyes. So it's a really cool looking card. And I picked that up, of course, because I try not to pay full price for things. I picked that up cheap. And coming in at approximately $200 below book price, and Jamie is victorious in his first eBay bid of the evening. So picking it up at $200 lower than book price. The archive only triple relic from season 2 Discovery. It's pieces of the spacesuits worn by Pike, Burnham, and Nan in the season 2 episode 1 Brother. So that's a cool looking card as well. But again, all the other stuff that I picked up during the week was just some of the limited autograph cards, nothing to write home about. Really, the big thing that focused on our week was Picard. I did also, however, as Jamie mentioned, I got one of the John Delancey pictures as well. So I got a black and white. I don't even know how to describe the art style, but it's Q wearing one of the captain's uniforms in black and white. And the inscription I got is, "It's not safe out here. It's wondrous." And of course, the quote goes on more, but that's from Q Who when the Borg were introduced. So it's a very nice piece now that it is framed and matted. And maybe even before we post this episode, I'll post pictures of those up on our Twitter page.
So obviously the big elephant in the room we just talked about was us just getting together and cracking open 3 cases of Star Trek Picard. So obviously I was very, very happy with what we did. Obviously I had 2 of the cases. Mike, you had 1. But some real highlights from my 2 cases. First and foremost, I got the big one, the A1 Patrick Stewart scarce card. What was interesting about this card was that it was actually a 3x5, which is a larger size. And, I'm assuming, based on our conversation, probably because of Patrick Stewart's, because he's getting older and maybe it was easier for him to sign on the bigger card, but real excited about getting that. Some of the other highlights that I got, some of the nicer cards, obviously the Jonathan Frakes, extremely limited autograph, full bleed autograph. A couple of other highlights, Peyton List, Narissa. I really wanted to get one from her, and I was able to get a scarce one. And just so people know too, when I say things like scarce or extremely limited or very limited, each one of those is a particular designation of how many actual autographs are in existence for that card. So a scarce card would be less than 100 autographs. If I say extremely limited, that would be between 100 and 200 autographs of that card. Very limited would be 200 to 300. Limited would be 300 to 500. And then if it has no description, that would be over 500. So a lot of scarce cards in this set, as me and you talked about, Mike. So those are the ones I was particularly happy with that I got. Like I said, obviously the Patrick Stewart was a scarce one. The Peyton List was a scarce one. I also got a bordered Lulu Wilson, and that's the girl who played Kestra Troy Riker. So her bordered card was actually a scarce card as well. Matt Perfuto, who played Rue, his bordered card was scarce. And then Tamlin Tamita, she was the woman that played Commander O. Her bordered card was scarce as well. And then the cool dual autograph that I did receive was the Issa Briones and Jonathan Del Arco. And that one was actually scarce as well. So 6 scarces out of that I pulled out were really awesome. Really happy with those. Obviously, I got a couple other nice ones. I know I mentioned the Jonathan Frakes one, which was the extremely limited, but I also got a Brent Spiner bordered one that was extremely limited. And then I got an Evan Evagora extremely limited and a Harry Treadway extremely limited. So those are just some of the high level overview ones that I pulled. So that's what I got. And Mike, what did you pull from your case?
Well, I didn't have as much to choose from. I didn't have the second case to go through, which my back and my neck are appreciative of, because I was a hurting unit the next day after opening all of those boxes. But I did pull some cool stuff. And I'm going to rely on you, because I'm assuming that you have your list in front of you to tell me what was scarce and what was extremely limited. So I got a Issa Briones A6 card. It was a full bleed autograph. I believe that's a scarce.
That is a scarce, so less than 100 in existence.
Yep, that's a scarce. I got a Santiago Cabrera bordered. Now, I don't care if this was like, if he signed like 150,000 of this card. I love this card because it's him in his Stardust City Rag getup with the fur and the orange hat and the feather. The only thing missing in the picture is the drink with two umbrellas. But
no, I was gonna say those bordered cards are really, really nice. And his orange, his hat is orange, right? I think hat's the hat. It really popped on that card. It looks so good. I 100% agree with you. That's one of the sharper cards in this set.
Yeah. And then I pulled another bordered Evan Evagora, and it's him in his Choose to Live stance from Absolute Candor. So some great cards that I pulled there. I also pulled a dual autograph of Peyton List and Harry Treadway, which I believe that's a scarce card, correct?
Now those actually, that was an extremely limited.
Okay.
So the last three you talked about, the duel, the the duel, the Evan Evagora, and the Santiago Cabrera, are all extremely limited. So it's that second tier.
Okay. And then I also pulled Nikita and Jade Ramsey dual autograph as well. I don't know what that was. I'm guessing that's an extremely limited as well.
Yep, extremely limited.
Okay. So those were the highlights of mine. Again, smaller sample size. I only had the single case to go through, but I'm still happy with what I got, and I'll be filling out the rest through eBay purchases. Now, all of this being said, the descriptions that we've just talked about, the cards that we've talked about, we have a video in the works. Will be posted to the Trek Geeks Podcast Network YouTube channel. And we'll probably do it in like a short form podcast format. We'll show you pictures of everything with us talking over it and telling you some of the stuff that we talked about here. What a scarce is versus a limited. You'll see the size of the Picard, of the Patrick Stewart card versus the rest of them. You'll see the difference between a full bleed and a bordered card if you're not aware of what those differences are. So we're hoping to get that out sometime this week as well. Now, something that we've also teased on Twitter this past week. So if you've seen our pictures on our Twitter page, you have seen that because we opened up 3 cases of cards, we have a lot of base sets. And so we want to give some of them away to some of you listeners. So we're going to do a couple of contests. So our first contest is we want you to guess how many sets, base sets that is, we put together from our foray into case opening. So not going to throw anything out there like Price is Right rules or anything like that. The two guesses that are the closest will receive a base set of the Star Trek Picard Season 1 Rittenhouse cards. Now, in the case that we have multiple people hitting those top 2 numbers, we will put you into a randomizer to make sure everything is fair.
And a couple of things you want to remember too. There are 60 cards in the base set, right? And then the cases generally have 12 boxes in a case, 24 packs in a case. So that's as far as I'm going to tell you. Any of you mathematicians out there can kind of figure out from there.
Yep.
How many are in each one. But just to kind of kind of give you some little tips to head down, and also check out some of the pictures that we have on Twitter of some of these. We both took pictures of our piles before we sorted them out. So, but yeah, you need to guess the combined number of both of all three cases.
One of us may not have posted a picture before sorting, but you'll have to do some detective work to notice that. So the other contests, so these contests will run simultaneously. So contest 1 was to guess how many sets we put together. Contest 2, we are sorely lacking in the iTunes review column. So if you give us an iTunes review, good, bad, indifferent, tell us what you like about the show, tell us what you don't like about the show, give us some suggestions about the show, anything along those lines. If you put it into the iTunes, Apple Podcast reviews, we will enter you into a drawing for one of 2 sets of the Star Trek Picard Season 1 Rittenhouse cards. So we're giving away at this point 4 sets. That's not to say these are going to be the only 4 sets we give away, but we're starting there. And then going forward, we'll probably have some more contests, some more giveaways. Maybe if you're a big fan of the show, we might just send you an individual IM and ask you what your address is, and you'll get one in the mail. Who knows? But this is how we're going to start things off. And going back to the guess how many sets. So put it in Twitter, put it on Instagram, put it in Camp Kittimer. So reach us at all of those places in order to be able to enter for your own set of Star Trek Picard cards. We'd like to take a moment to talk about FanSets, the presenting sponsor of the Trek Geeks Podcast Network and the Divine Treasury.
By definition, FanSets is a small business, but the service and products they offer us are big. With offerings for all different types of fandoms, including Scooby-Doo, DC Comics, Batman 66, and Harry Potter.
But Jamie, since Star Trek is our sweet spot at the Divine Treasury, we can talk about their over 300 licensed pins, from badges to microcrew to anniversary sets to episode pins. All of these things are located on the FanSets website, and it's what all of us as collectors dream about on a regular basis. Each month, they release pins on the 1st and the 15th. And on May 1st, as was released, the microcrew pin for Lieutenant Nog from Deep Space Nine, and also the micro fleet pin for the USS Titan, as seen in the last episode of Season 1 of Lower Decks. Now, also being released are 2 more of the emoji series pins. This one being Michael Burnham from Discovery and Picard, Jean-Luc Picard, as seen in Star Trek Picard. Now, they also put out a special pin in between, and that was Laris and Jabon from Star Trek Picard. And I know everybody had been looking forward to that pin. So go to the FanSets website and check out those new items to the catalog.
As a listener to the show, you can receive 10% off your next order from FanSets by using the code DIVINE, that's DIVINE, at checkout. And remember that when you ship in the U.S., you receive free shipping on orders of $30 or more.
FanSets. Our pins have character. And we thank FanSets for being the presenting sponsor of the Divine Treasury and the Trek Geeks Podcast Network. So on each episode of the Divine Treasury, we look for a collector of all things Star Trek, and we see what's gotten them into the hobby and what they have in their collection. So our guest has been on many of your favorite podcasts, including as a host on Standard Orbit on the Trek FM network and the Union Federation podcast on the Fandom Podcast Network. She's also got a show coming soon to the Trek Geeks Podcast Network, Science Station 2. You also may have heard of her because of this thing she created called hashtag Trek Tuesday. Hayley Stoddart, welcome to the Divine Treasury.
Thank you for having me on. I am very excited to be here.
So let's start with, we know that you're here because you have some Star Trek stuff that you collect, but is there anything outside of Star Trek that you collect?
Yeah, actually, I collect shot glasses. That was probably the first thing I really started getting into. So anytime I travel and I go somewhere, I buy a shot glass. So I've got one from Canada. That's the only place that I've gotten one from. And all the states that I've been to, which is like 25 states at this point. So every time I go, I get a shot glass. Funny, I went to Florida on vacation a couple years ago, and I totally spaced on buying a shot glass while I was there. So I believe a friend of mine from Florida sent me one. So that was kind of nice. And fun shirts that are not Star Trek. It's getting a little bit ridiculous. I know that kind of seems silly, but no, really, I like to collect just fun, different types of shirts. Fan art has gotten to be a really big thing for me. We've gone to the convention in Salt Lake, FanEx, and I really enjoy just different fan art that's not Star Trek related. I have a lot of Disney stuff. Another show that I really enjoyed, and if you haven't watched it, you should. It's Orphan Black. I have this really neat artwork from that show, and mugs. Collect mugs like nobody's business. We have a lot of mugs, and we're running out of space for all our coffee mugs. So
That's great. That's awesome. So, well, you're drinking a mug right now. Like that. So obviously we know the whole purpose why we're here. We're here to talk about Star Trek stuff. So what type of Star Trek things do you have in your collection there, Hayley?
Oh gosh, almost what don't I have at this point? But I don't stick to one thing in particular. It's just a hodgepodge of different things. I've got artwork, mugs. This mug that I'm currently drinking from, it says, "I might look like I'm listening to you, but in my head, I'm piloting the Enterprise." I have books, figurines. I have Funko figures. I have tons of FanSet pins. I have some ship models, ornaments. I'm going to say my photo ops because that is something that I enjoy getting. So that's included in there. And yeah, just a lot of different things. Lots of shirts. Most people will know that I have tons of Star Trek shirts, and I'm always buying more Star Trek shirts.
That's great. So now you said you're big into photo ops. Obviously, you're a big convention goer when the conventions. Are you big into getting autographs too? Do you usually get your photo ops autographed, or like is it just kind of you do the photo op? Do you take a picture with just you and your daughter? What do you do?
So I don't get my photo ops autographed. I do have a poster that I bought the first time I went to STLV. And that one has all of the main cast from TNG autographs on it. My last one that I got was Patrick Stewart's. So that's really fun. Photo ops, actually, my kid, the first time she went to a convention was at FanEx. And so we've got some photo ops. We have one with Gates and Will. And that one was super fun. She's got her own that we've done. The ones that we've done together actually really haven't been Star Trek ones. So they've been Harry Potter ones, and because that's her thing. So mine are, I have all the TNG crew, and I do have Simon Pegg, just because I do like the Beyond films, and I've always liked Simon Pegg. I enjoy his acting in a lot of his different movies. And I've got Wilson Cruz, and I've got Mary Wiseman.
Nice. So now you said you got all the TNG ones. So are you saying that you're a big TNG fan, or are you original series? Yes, TNG.
Yeah, TNG. That's the one I grew up on. So I was born in 82. And so that one is my comfort food.
So you're my new best friend, Hayley, because I love
thanks.
TNG. And I actually have all the photo ops from all the TNG people. Now, have you ever seen that the large black and white photo of the 7 of them?
Yes.
The casual.
The casual one. That was the first autograph piece I ever got when I started going to conventions, was getting that large piece done. And of course, I had to go to New York to get Patrick Stewart because he only went to one convention that year.
Yeah.
But big TNG fan here. So sorry, I'll digress.
I'm realizing that I'm the old man here. I'm the oldest on here.
My kid's favorite series is the original series. So you're not. So.
Oh, that's not. I just meant age-wise.
Oh. Gotcha.
Well, why do you think I asked you to do this podcast, Mike?
Literal chronology.
Why do you think I asked you to do this? So that I'd be younger.
Yeah, there you go. No, we're all pretty much in the same age group. We all grew up on TNG, and I've said in the past that I think story-wise, Deep Space Nine is my favorite. But when it comes down to like what's in the heart, I mean, TNG was my first live one. So that's obviously where I'm going. Just like, Emily likes, there you go. Emily likes Voyager and Enterprise. I mean, she's really into them, but Discovery's the first live show she had. So that's like right up there at the top for her. Although now she's telling me Picard is her favorite. So this is the problem, Hayley, with me and TNG, because I love TNG so much. And it's like, I mean, I love all the series. Don't get me wrong. I'm a completist and I've seen everything. And in fact, I'm doing a rewatch of the original series right now. But if I find something that's TNG oriented, I have to get it. That's the problem with me and my collecting, is like, if it's TNG, like if it's a FanSets pin, or if it's a Funko Pop, or if it's an autograph card, I have to have it. That's where I kind of, I mean, I collect everything, but
I get
TNG
you.
is the toughest,
I completely understand. I've got my hodgepodge, like I said, of things. I've got stuff from the original series and I've got stuff from TNG, but most of my collecting is TNG. So I completely understand, but I think it goes back to that's the comfort food right there. And so I'd like to have those things. Like I'm trying to hunt down some of the 90s Hallmark ornaments. I've got a few, obviously, because I'm old enough that I've had some that have the original, you'd pull out the light bulb from the strand and plug it in so it would light up. Yeah. I've got some of those. So I'm trying to, find some of the other ones because I'd love to have the other ones, but I definitely gear towards the TNG stuff.
Yeah, I've got to say, as I look at my shelf here, like I've got a little bit from every series, but the TNG one is crowded and stuff is like starting to encroach on other parts of the shelves.
So I'm not the only one who separates by series on their shelves. So good.
Nope. And if you were to look at the wall to Jamie's right in his office or in his basement there, he has all of his autographs on the wall separated by series as well. So I think we're
Makes
all
sense.
we're all in that anal category of categorizing all of our stuff.
And it's so ridiculous, Hayley, because literally I've spent nights because obviously the wall you see behind me is the Star Wars wall, but my Star Trek wall is huge. It's like the whole side of the room. But literally I have overthought and moved pictures around so much to make sure they're equal and dimensional. And it's bad. Like literally I'll be like, okay, I have to get one TNG at this convention and 3 Deep Space Nine to balance everything out. And yeah, it's bad. It's a problem. But see, the difference between TNG and the other series is like, I'll buy stupid things like Pez dispensers because it's TNG. Like I would never buy a original series Pez dispenser but I'd buy a TNG one because it says TNG. So that's, like I said, that's kind of where
I have those.
my issue lies. The 25th anniversary one, right?
Yes, I do. My best friend got those for me. She also got me a Borg Cube computer bobblehead.
Oh, nice.
It's
nice.
Monitor Mate Borg Cube bobblehead.
Oh, I've seen those.
And she still has it in the package.
Well, because we all have laptops now. No one has a desktop to sit this on. It's got a wider base. Probably, I would say a silver dollar size.
Yep.
So I don't know. I couldn't put it on there, but maybe someday I'll put it on.
But I will say, like that Pez dispenser set, the 25th anniversary. I mean, the packaging is so nice on that thing. Why would you ever take it out of the package?
And I don't like Pez anyway, so
yeah,
it's just
I would never eat it. It just looks cool. I tell you what, I did see the other day. I never knew existed before was TNG Monopoly.
Oh yeah,
I actually saw that on eBay the other day, and I'm like, oh, where can I put this in my room? I didn't pull the trigger on it. Yeah. I'll have to move some stuff around, but
the board games are super fun. I have 2 of them. They're original series ones. They're very old.
Yeah. I don't know if Jamie would play it though.
No,
that's the thing.
I'd have to get one in the packaging and display it, but haven't pulled the trigger on that one yet.
So now that we've gone off on our TNG tangent here, the next question that we would typically ask is what got you into collecting Star Trek things? Is there something that provided the spark, whether it's a series or an episode? So I'm guessing TNG might have had something to do with it.
Sort of, but I think the catalyst was I was working at Old Navy in 2011. Yeah. And in the men's department, they get, fun different shirts for different things. And there was one, actually, no, I think it was 2012. And it just said Trekkie across the top. And I was like, by golly, I got to buy that shirt. And we had lanyards. And I said, well, I got to buy a Star Trek lanyard, which I have somewhere still. And it's blue because I'm a team science. And then in 2013, when I went to take myself to a concert in Vegas about a month before, somehow in an email or something, found out about the convention, which I had no knowledge of. And I said, I'll go for a day. That'll be kind of fun. I bought the poster that I mentioned earlier about, it's a TNG poster from actually made them for the Destination Star Trek convention that they do overseas. And it's TNG. And I said, well, this is really pretty. I really like this. So I'm going to buy that. And it's spiraled since. And listeners can't see the bookshelf that's behind me that does have books, but there's 4 shelves and there's stuff from the top all the way down. Yeah. And there's jewelry back in my bedroom. So there's some stuff back in the bedroom too, but nothing like specifically really kind of set it off. There wasn't an episode or anything. It just kind of went from there. And I blame mostly myself because I've bought most of it myself, but my best friend has fed my habit and my parents have started to do that as well. My mom found this old light up globe that they made, back in like the 90s, early 90s. I don't know where she found this.
I had one.
Yeah, I have it, and it's the TOS. It's the original series one. But so they periodically do that. They bought me some plates for my birthday last year. One of them's like super rare. Their original series ones are super cool. So it's just spiraled.
Now, Hayley, you said that obviously 2011 was kind of when you started like your collecting little rampage there. But like what now, did you watch TNG when it first came out? Like initially, like, or did you, did you grow up on that, or did you grow up on the original? Like how did you really come into watching Star Trek? Obviously,
my dad watched it a little bit, and so he and I would watch it together. And then he stopped watching, and I just kept watching. And so it was TNG. I was 5 when it came out, so I don't think I was watching it at that point. I was too busy watching Fraggle Rock, but and so it's always been there, and it's just stuck with me. And I just remember watching all of it. I remember the Everlong summer between the 2-parter Best of Both Worlds, and crying at the end when the series ended. So it's been there all my life.
So now did you go right into like Deep Space Nine and Voyager, or how
No,
did that?
I didn't watch anything else. I remember, I think I vaguely saw an episode of Enterprise or like a little bit of one. And I was like, what the heck is this? What is this, a Star Trek? But I never watched anything else afterwards. Honestly, I don't know why, but so it was years later before I watched Deep Space Nine. Haven't watched Voyager. I've watched a few episodes, haven't seen any of Enterprise. Watched the original series with my daughter a few years ago. After doing a TNG rewatch and a Deep Space Nine rewatch, I said, what should we watch next? So that's what she picked. And then obviously I've seen Discovery and Picard and Lower Decks.
So has your daughter watched all of those with you, or was it just original series she watched with you?
She's just watched the original series and TNG because it's always been there. She's kind of watched Deep Space Nine, but at the time when I was doing a rewatch, it was probably still a little bit much for her at her age, because this was a few years ago. She's not really watched anything else at this point yet. So she's been too much into Minecraft and Roblox.
So it
sounds like the typical 8 to 12, 13, 14-year-old kid right now.
Yeah, my son plays Minecraft.
Yeah, so does Emily.
Constantly.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So do you have a plan to watch Voyager anytime soon, or Enterprise, or?
Voyager will be next. So we've watched a few episodes. That's my boyfriend's favorite series. So kind of watched it here and there. I've been on a podcast about it. So I've watched a couple episodes randomly, but that'll be the next one. We've just been cycling through other stuff. So
that's right. You were a see it or skip it host of one of the Voyager seasons, weren't you?
I don't know, not Voyager.
Oh, I thought you were.
Maybe.
No, but I do remember your several appearances on Trek Ranks, and every time they talk about a Voyager episode,
I know
Jim would ask your opinion, and you'd be like, "Yeah, I haven't seen that yet. I'm not a completist."
Yeah. No, I know. We're getting there.
Oh, hey, comfort food. You always go back to what you love. So,
but I actually think you'll really enjoy Voyager, though. I think it'd be a good show for you and your daughter to watch for sure.
The few episodes I've seen I've enjoyed it pretty good. So
yeah, it's far more similar to TNG than Deep Space Nine ever was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like to Mike's point, a lot more episodic, I would say, and how it's structured, and you really get to see all sorts of different new aliens too, because they couldn't really use a lot of the aliens in TNG. They had to kind of develop new ones and new plot lines and new things like that. So it's definitely a great show.
You get to see the Klingons with Rasta hair, the Kazon.
Yeah.
Now let's take some time to talk about our friends at Science Division. And they've made the world's first interactive tribble that you can control with your smartphone.
We talk about Science Division during every episode, and we even featured Jay and Kaylia on the Divine Treasury to talk about their collection and the business that they have too. And that's why we're trying to encourage all our listeners to vote for them in the FedEx Small Business Grant Contest. So if you've been waiting to get a tribble, this will help them continue producing tribbles. If you've already gotten one, this is a great way to support them. As you know, they've put in the time and attention to detail that you would expect from a fantastic product, right down to the tribble fur.
When you download the Section K7 app, you can name your tribble. You can put it on a ship of your own name, depending on what you would choose to call it. You can put it into different modes, such as at ease, on duty, and a watchdog. A watchdog is particularly good because I've bought Emily her tribble and it's hers, and I haven't bought my own. So she would put it into watchdog mode to prevent me from taking it and bringing it onto the podcast, even though I do that every now and then. So at the push of a button, you can have it attack anybody. But we all know in the end,
Turtles are not dangerous.
And as an exclusive for our listeners, you can receive $5 off your very own Tribble when you use the code Cyrano. That's Cyrano at checkout.
Science Division. Trouble's never been this fun. And we thank Science Division for sponsoring this week's episode.
All right, Hayley. So getting back into our discussion here, is there something specific that you focus your attention on in your collecting of your Star Trek items? What's your particular interest right now?
I honestly don't have one. There's not anything. It's more of just like what catches my eye, what I find really interesting. Sometimes it's what's different and what's unique. That maybe not a lot of people will have, or it might be a little harder to find. But I don't necessarily pick up anything super specific. Like I said, it's a hodgepodge. I've got some books, I've got some figurines. I think probably right now the biggest thing is just artwork. Whenever I can find some really neat fan art, I've been really super geared towards that. I will spend forever wandering the art hall at FanEx when we can. So
now, Hayley, did you go to the 50th anniversary in Las Vegas?
Yes, I was there. That was insane.
So did you remember they had that section where it was the 50 artists, the 50 years and 50 artists?
Mm-hmm.
Did you look at some of that art? Did you pick up any of that art at all when you were there?
I didn't, because at the time I really wasn't big on the fan art. It's only been in the last couple of years that I've really started to enjoy the fan art. But I do remember that stuff. It was really neat, those posters. And they turned them into books, right? And I thought about getting them. And then I thought, I don't have any more room for any more books at this point. Much of less of anything, actually. So, but those were really, really cool. And I've seen some on some websites, some of the shirts pop up from some of those posters too.
You know what else is cool, and not to get too much on a tangent, but if you're really into like fan art stuff, Rittenhouse has a couple card sets of TNG, especially portfolio prints, where it's like fan art of the individual episodes.
Oh, cool! And
some of those are really cool, and they're really cheap too. You can pick up like the base sets for like nothing, but check some of those out. They're really cool, different like fan art things that, like I said, would be a pretty cheap collectible for you.
I've got this over my shoulder. So that's from the newer films, and it's the Enterprise. I love the styling of that one.
I do too. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, we have the Voyager below it, but the way the light's hitting, you can't see it very well. And I've got some other stuff too. I need to find more space to put up stuff.
Now, we'll focus on the art a little bit here. When you're roaming the vendors' rooms at conventions, is there something in the art that draws you to it?
A lot of it is color, but it's also how different is it? The uniqueness of it. And what's really great is I like when there's different formats. Some of the artists, the last time we were at a convention, you could get it on poster. You could get it on the like acrylic. You could get it on metal, and each different thing, it made it look just a little bit different depending on what it was put on. So a lot of it's just kind of that uniqueness of it, really.
I wasn't sure if it was that type of thing. Like, I know you've told me before how you like Spock, so I didn't know if like Spock stuff drew you as well. I see behind you the different starships. I mean, like you said, it seems like it's a hodgepodge, and that's why I was curious, because it's like I see things, I'm like, oh, that's so cool, but where's it going to fit into my room?
Yeah. I like some of the ship ones and some of the different characters, like some of the stuff that we have that's non-Trek in artwork. I picked up a Pete's Dragon art piece that was done not super cartoony, but it was just the coloring and the style of it was really neat. There was an artist that made everything kind of look like it was wood, but it was on paper. And it was so different and just really unique. I like stuff that's more true to the actual thing. So if it was a Spock, I wouldn't want it super charactery. But at the same time, I have Lee's A through Z of his Trek stuff, and the Infinite Spock's Eye for Infinite Spock is one of my favorites. And so it really just kind of depends on the style of it and what it is. But characters are great, but a lot of it's ships right now. So
I don't think of Lee's artwork as being too caricature-y. I think
no.
I think he's spot on. It's just his style of drawing. That's all.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, so it's mostly just depending on what it is specifically. Has to catch my eye.
Now I know you talked a lot about books too. So like, are you a big avid reader? What's some of your interests in reading? I know you said it's kind of all over the place, but what are some things that you like to focus on when it comes to your Star Trek reading?
I am not much for science fiction as far as reading like a science fiction novel. I like the informational books as far as that goes. So like I've got the Star Trek 365 back here. I have the Star Trek, the Book of Lists. So if you guys ever want to discuss something, it's a book of lists and it's just a list of different topics. I have the ships books, and I did pick up the TNG Picard autobiography. So there are some, but for the most part, I really like the informational books because it's fascinating. If I'm picking up a book to read, it's going to be more of like a murder mystery sciencey kind of book. But I love the informational ones like this one, which we were kind of talking about off mic. Listeners, if you have not picked up Treknology, you really, really should. It's really super great talking about the technology of Star Trek, if anything can be actually applied or not, and how that would happen. Like warp drive. Could we really make that happen?
I was going to say, so you mentioned that was an autographed copy.
It is.
So
yes.
did you purchase the book pre-autographed, or did you meet Dr. Siegel? It was Dr. Siegel, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you meet him and get the autograph?
So yeah, I remember hearing about the book, and I bought it I think on Amazon, and I read it and had it with me. And then he has gone to STLV, and he's done some panels and stuff like that. And the last time I went, he actually had a table and he was signing books, so you could buy it and have him sign it. But I already had my copy, and I was telling people you should go buy that book. Yeah, pre signature, and then the signature happened later.
Nice. So you're definitely like a documentary girl then, right? You love documentaries and stuff.
Yeah, so, yeah.
So have you seen Chaos on the Bridge?
I've seen that one.
Yeah, that's a good
one.
My
favorite is the Captain's one.
Oh yeah, those are good.
I liked that one. Chaos on the Bridge was pretty good. It was definitely really interesting.
There's a lot of interesting science ones too. Like I think that's the one, the science of Star Trek, and a lot of stuff that obviously William Shatner has done. But I'm a big documentary person too. Like I said, I'm more into, if I'm going to read about something or watch something, I'm more apt to watch like a documentary as opposed to like, I'm the type of person, if I buy Blu-rays or DVDs, like I love the special features and the behind the scenes stuff and how they make stuff and things like that. So
definitely
stuff I'm into for sure.
All right. So you have mentioned a couple times now how you have friends that seem to pick stuff up for you because they know you're a Star Trek fan. Is this just because they're your friends? Have you built relationships based off of this? How's that all worked for you?
Well, my best friend and I, she's a big nerd person too. She's a Star Trek fan. She's more of a Doctor Who and Supernatural fan, but she also likes Star Trek. And so we bonded over that and would pick up nerdy things for each other. I'd buy her Doctor Who stuff for Christmas or her birthday and Supernatural, and she'd buy me Star Trek, and I'd buy her Star Trek sometimes too. And so we just kind of feed each other's nerdy habits essentially. And then I'm the easiest one in my family, in my immediate family to shop for because I like Star Trek. And granted, stuff's kind of hard to find. You have to really look for it because it's not generally sold in stores. But my brother buys me Star Trek stuff. And like I said, my parents have started to. And, so they just feed my addiction. It's fine. I will say, I have built a relationship with the FanSets. I remember the first time they were at STLV, and I didn't buy anything that first year, but I really became friends with them. And I'm pretty sure that it's because of that I know that Bill and Dan met them, and I introduced other people. So I was kind of, they're like, hey, you should go buy these pins. You should go buy.
So Hayley was on the ground floor for FanSets.
Yeah.
and I've seen how you've made your pin board for displaying all of your FanSets pins and other pins too, if I remember correctly.
Yes,
So,
there's other stuff on there too.
So I actually want to ask you about your FanSets stuff because so is which part of FanSets stuff do you collect? I mean, is it just Star Trek stuff? Is there specific things in the Star Trek line that you focus on, or is it a hodgepodge?
So it's definitely mostly Star Trek for me. I have I have the TNG crew. I have some of the Mirror TNG crew. I've also got some of the Discovery from my favorites. So I have Pike, and I have Culber, and I have Stamets. And then I've got some of their ship ones. So I've got the TNG one, and I've got a TOS one. And I bought the TV one, the black and white original series where No Man Has Gone Before episode pin. So I have that. And then I do have some Batman because I have to have some Batman, and I do have some Harry Potter from them as well. And then my boyfriend, he's got his Voyager ones, and my daughter's got some Harry Potter. So
is it regular Batman or is it Batman 66?
It's Batman 66.
Of
Adam
course.
West is my Batman.
Nothing better than Batman 66, obviously.
No.
So that brings us to the awards section of the episode. So on each episode, we divvy out awards for our guests' collections, and it's not based off of me and Jamie's thoughts. It's based on the collector themselves. So the first one is the Kivas Fajo Award. So what thing is there out there that you would love to have in your collection that you just either haven't pulled the trigger on yet, or you just can't seem to find anywhere?
So it's not so much that I can't find it or pull the trigger on it. It is a matter of if they will do it again or not. It is a photo op with Patrick Stewart. Because that is the last thing last photo op that I would need to complete my main crew from TNG photo ops. And he was at FanEx in Salt Lake years ago, before I even knew about FanEx, and wasn't attending conventions. And I'm kicking myself because he did photo ops then. And when he was at STLV, he was not doing photo ops, but he was at least doing autographs. So I got that, but it's a photo op.
Yeah, no, I I mean, anybody that's heard this show or heard me talk about Patrick Stewart, that's my favorite picture I have in my collection is my Patrick Stewart. And, when we get offline, I'll tell you a good story about that. But I actually was able to get a photo op with him too in the group. I did the whole cast, the whole TNG cast.
Yeah.
One of those years in Vegas. But Patrick Stewart definitely that photo was 100% worth it for sure.
Yeah.
Great guy.
Yeah.
Great guy.
Yeah.
I have a feeling with the success of Picard, I know that there's probably a better chance of us seeing him at conventions doing photo ops than there is of him doing autograph sessions anymore because of the arthritis that he has in his hands. But, Shatner's 90 and he's still doing photo ops. So
yeah. Well, that's why I'm glad I got the autograph when I did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The only thing I would kind of disagree with you on with that is I think with COVID and all the he's going to be, prior to COVID, he didn't really like doing photo ops in general. So, I don't know. It's going to be, that's a tough one. And I'm similar to you, Hayley, and Avery Brooks is the only captain I don't have a photo op with. So I'm like so bummed out about that because I have every TNG cast member and I have every captain other than Avery Brooks. And I was going to meet him and he was coming to Boston and he canceled out on us and then he hasn't come back since. So, I totally, my wall is so incomplete because I do not have that Avery Brooks photo op.
Yeah, that would be my one. I even have one with Lorca, essentially.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. No, I didn't do Lorca. I did Anson Mount. I loved Anson Mount.
Yeah, me too.
I was gonna do that one because James Frayne was supposed to be at STLV and he had to cancel. And so I had credit to get another one. And I thought, which one do I want to do? And I'm kicking myself for not doing Anson Mounts. So
Anson Mount was great.
Once we're able to go back to conventions, you'll have your chance. Strange New Worlds, it's not even out yet, and everybody is on board with that. And him and Ethan Peck together at a convention, they're characters. The two of them just play off of each other hilariously. So I don't see that being something that's not going to happen again in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so that brings us to our next award. I'm a little disappointed in the awards section because Mike gets to do the two TNG ones. I have to do the Deep Space Nine one. Very disappointing.
Oh, boo-hoo.
Listen, I'm with a fellow TNG person, Mike. Leave me alone.
You make it seem like I'm not into TNG.
I know. I'm teasing you. All right. So the Grand Nagis Award, this would be the most valuable item in your collection. So Hayley, what would fit that category?
That one. So it's a tie, but it's going to be this autograph picture that people can't see. It's Leonard Nimoy. It's autographed by him. It's from the episode Charlie X. He's playing the Vulcan harp. So.
Nice. Now, where did you get that? Did you actually meet Leonard?
No, I did not have that opportunity to ever do that. Again, I wasn't a convention goer up until 2013, 2014. So this one, my boyfriend found it. It was a present for me.
Good boyfriend. Nice.
Yeah, I have nothing on my walls that can compare to that. So the final award then, so that is the most valuable cash-wise probably. So the Resican Flute Award, what one of your pieces do you have that is the most sentimental to you?
That would be a Star Trek Delta that my daughter drew. She was, I think, maybe somewhere between 10 and 12. She drew them quite a lot. So she drew me several of them, but there was one that was my favorite. So
I love that because I've got something similar on my wall over here. So that's really cool. I do love that. Yep. And that is, I think that's the first time we've had somebody talk most sentimental piece is something that they got from their kid. I like it.
Yeah, no, that's great.
She's artsy, and that's one of the things, it's her thing. And so I've held on to a lot of different things, but that one was pretty special. So I had to keep it.
Well,
it's on my shelf somewhere.
Well, that's so awesome. Well, Hayley, I just obviously speaking for Mike as well, I want to thank you so much for coming on with us. Where can people find you online?
Well, thanks guys for having me on. You can mostly find me on Twitter. I'm at Trekkie01D. I am in Camp Kittimer. I don't get on Facebook hardly ever, but so Twitter's the best space to find me. We can talk Trek, science, some psychology, lots of different things.
So we're looking for more collectors like Hayley that would like to be featured on the Divine Treasury.
So you can find us on Twitter at divine_treasury and on Instagram with the same handle. We're both on Facebook. We can be found popping into and out of Camp Kittimer from time to time. So if you'd like to be on the show, please direct message one of us on one of these platforms, and please send us your pictures and videos.
You can also subscribe to us on the Trek Geeks Podcast Network YouTube channel, where you will find the recordings of the podcast. You'll also find Jamie and I showing off some of the stuff that we've got in at times, but also we may do an unboxing. We're talking about doing something in particular when the Picard card set comes out. So if you are interested in seeing something like that, dial into us on the YouTube channel. So if you enjoy listening to Jamie and I talk about all of the things that we spend our hard-earned money on, or even more so, you enjoy listening to the guests that we have on, you can subscribe to the Divine Treasury by searching for us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. And now, if you have an Android phone or device, you can download the Trek Geeks Podcast Network app, which has all of the great shows from the network delivered to you on your app. So check out all of those different areas to be able to receive these great podcasts from the Trek Geeks Podcast Network.
Also some new content coming very shortly as well from that app.
Plug.
I didn't say what the content was. I just said there's new content coming. Don't have to be a Debbie Downer, Michael. You can also support the Divine Treasury and the Trek Geeks Podcast Network by supporting us on Patreon. Get access to unedited recordings of every episode on the network, as well as other exclusive content and so many other awesome perks.
If you'd like to become a producer on the network or get access to what is always a treat, the raw audio of the Divine Treasury, head over to patreon.com/TrekGeeks.
The Trek Geeks Podcast Network. No one talks Star Trek like we do. We'd also like to thank 5 Year Mission for allowing us to use their awesome music for this show. They are writing a song for every episode of the original series. And this is not parody music, but this is content based on the show itself. So please go down to 5yearmission.net, put some CDs in your cart, because we know in collecting, it's all about the physical media. So pick up year 1, year 2, year 3, and year 4, as well as The Trouble with Tribbles and Spock's Brain. Make 5 Year Mission a part of your collection today.
And on our next episode, we look forward to talking to New York Times bestselling author Dayton Ward about his Star Trek collection and potentially some of the things you've heard him talk about with Bill and Dan. I will tell you, he was more than happy to not have to talk to Bill and Dan for this episode. But until then, this has been episode 12 of The Divine Treasury. The Divine Treasury, connecting through collecting.
Music for the Divine Treasury is provided by 5 Year Mission. They're writing an original song for each episode of Star Trek. Hear more of their music at 5yearmission.net. The Divine Treasury is a production of Coconut Media Works. Executive producers Bill Smith and Dan Davidson. For more great Star Trek discussion, discover the other shows of the Trek Geeks Podcast Network at trekgeeks.com or find us in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app.